We'll continue to monitor everything around the college football landscape, but I do want to play this game with you before we get out of here because I like playing the superlative game because I think it allows for open-ended conversation, and you and I can go back and forth on what our thoughts are. So I've got a list. I got a list of questions here. You give me your answer. You can. I'll give you mine. We'll go back and forth, and we'll get out of here for the day. The first question: who is the most surprising team so far of the 2024 college football season?
Surprising. That's a tough one. You go first.
So
what do you got?
I think the immediate answer that jumps to my head are the two military academies. But I ended up going with a different team. I went with BYU. BYU is 7-0 after moving into the Big 12 not too long ago. They have 2 wins against ranked opponents already. They have 5 wins against Power 5 schools already. They're one of just the 10 remaining undefeated teams left in college football. And Jake Retzlaff has been awesome for them. He's their leading passer. He's their leading rusher. And BYU just survived a big, shootout game in dramatic fashion against Oklahoma State the other day to improve to 7-0. This team is just putting points up on the board. They've been really good this year. They dropped 38 on a ranked Kansas State team. They dropped 40 on that Arizona team you mentioned earlier in the show, and 38 last week against Oklahoma State. They're scoring points, man.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. That's a really good one. They're balling. They actually are balling. BYU. It's so weird of these teams because like they have these random years where like they're just like, yo, like the Zach Wilson teams and like teams like that. It's just like damn, they could come out of nowhere with it. I'm actually gonna do a surprise team in the opposite direction. Mine's actually gonna be USC. I actually thought USC was, and I still think they're a good team. I just thought they would have it more figured out than they do. I think they dropped some games, and I thought their confidence levels kind of now dropped, losing to Minnesota now. Because they came out hot, having a really impressive win against a tough LSU team, and in great fashion. The energy was right. They dropped a tough one to Michigan, and then I just kind of felt like they let the snowball keep getting bigger and bigger, and it kind of turned into an avalanche that it didn't really need to turn into. Obviously, the Penn State loss was a really tough, emotional loss. To lose that one at home in overtime, that one was a gut punch, but they didn't rebound from it the way I thought that they would. So I'm going to go with USC.
All right, so you may have actually just answered my next question because the next question was, who is the most disappointing team so far this year?
Yeah.
And you can go with USC, and I love it. I'm going to go with Florida State with this question. Ranked inside the top 10 to start the year. They're 1-6 now at the end, through 7 games. They got embarrassed by SMU, embarrassed by Boston College. Their one win is against Cal. They've scored 21 points or less in every game this year. DJ Uiagalelei just has not been good as their quarterback. I think they're really running into some hard times at Florida State right now. So to me, if you start within the top 10 and you have like legitimate aspirations and you're 1-6, I have to go with Florida State.
Yeah, that's honestly a great answer. Honestly, I think it's an embarrassing team, to be real with you. When I watch their film and I see some of the effort levels by some of the players and some of the body language that I see on the sideline, on the field, it is an embarrassing program right now. It's not a team that believes in each other. It's not a team that trusts each other, trusts what the coach's vision is. That one is a complete question mark to me because I just don't understand how that meltdown could happen that quickly and just that. It's just a lot of stuff doesn't make sense when I watch Florida State.
Yeah, I think that there is a probably large portion of Florida State fans who have Googled Mike Norvell buyout price in the last couple of weeks. And I'm not so sure it's Mike Norvell's entirely his fault right now.
Nah, it can't be. They've got way too many issues, going on over there.
By the way, Adam Telefero checked in for the most surprising team. Provolone John in the comment section echoed the same team. Adam said Indiana, 7-0 Indiana. They have scored 300 plus points this year already. Jason, they're just like steamrolling teams.
Yeah, Indiana. I'll give it to them, and they've got a coach that clearly believes. They took came from JMU, a very winning culture, winning program. He ended up grabbing a ton of transfers from that winning JMU team over to Indiana. They got a really explosive offense. Receivers are playing well. They've got a quarterback that's playing better than I think we thought he would come into the season playing. And it's a team that has a lot of confidence right now. That's always a dangerous team. They could easily end up 11-1 by the end of the season. Who knows where they'll be ranked? But I cannot say I'm an Indiana believer. I think when the going gets real, I'm not sure the going has gotten real for them just yet. But when it does, I don't think they'll show up.
All right, I think this one might be an obvious answer, but I'm curious your thoughts. Halfway through, who's your Heisman winner?
Ashton Jeanty.
That's what I figured.
It's between him and Travis. It's so tough because what Ashton's doing hasn't been done in 25 plus years. But at the same time, what Travis is doing is the type of stuff we haven't seen since Charles Woodson and some of those type of players too. So it's a tough one. I think this will be one of those ones where it'll probably come down to which team ends up having a better season is probably who the award will end up going to. Colorado goes and wins out and ends up being 10-2 end of season bowl game winners. It'll probably be Travis Hunter. If Ashton Jeanty's team, are they undefeated right now?
I believe they're 5-1.
Oh, they're 5-1. Yeah, they're. I don't see an argument for a better out of Power 5 conference team than Boise State to have an argument if they win out this season to get into the college football playoff and see Ashton Jeanty in the college football playoff atmosphere. So
is it fair to suggest right now, if the season ended today, the three of the guys going to Radio City Music Hall would be Hunter, Jeanty, and Cam Ward?
Yeah, that's pretty safe. I'm not completely locked in on Cam Ward being the quarterback because this has been a quarterback award. So I think there's still 2-3 quarterbacks that are kind of in the mix for that in general right now. But yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the draft. I know we're a long ways away from the draft, but if the NFL draft were to happen tomorrow, now obviously it would change with who has the number 1 overall pick. It looks like right now it could be New England. Cleveland may have some claim to it as the season progresses. If the season ended today and the NFL draft was tomorrow, who would be the number 1 overall pick in the draft?
Well, I think you're seeing some teams who are looking for some better quarterback plays. I think it's definitely going to be a quarterback that comes out first. It's going to be, I think, in my opinion, it's Shedeur. I think he does. I think he's so poised, and he's had that in his game for a long time. The level of pocket presence that he has a great arm. His arm is live. I think mentally he's all there from being able to really understand an NFL offense and do checks, protection, and have a command. There's just something about he's got a moxie to him that you'd love to see him lead an organization. So I think for me it's Shedeur Sanders. Cam Ward, there's still some question marks for me about who I feel like he might be as a player. I don't feel like he's as out there as Shedeur, so I see more of Shedeur more than Cam Ward. As right now, it would be Shedeur Sanders.
So I wrote who it should be and then who it will be in my notes. And I said who it should be is Travis Hunter. He's the best player in college football. But more times than not, you're not taking a corner or a wide receiver as the number 1 overall pick. Maybe both changes that aspect of it a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Not a position that's historically been taken number 1 overall. To me, I said who it will be is either a quarterback or Will Campbell, the tackle from LSU. Tackles you tend to go pretty high in the draft as well.
Yeah, that's true.
For example, if New England ends up with the number 1 pick, they're pretty comfortable with Drake May, at least for another season. Maybe they take a tackle or something like that.
Right.
How many Penn Staters get drafted on day 1?
On day 1, round 1?
Yes, just round 1.
I think 1 or 2 have a chance.
Okay. I have 2. I think Abdul Carter's a lock to be a first round pick.
Yeah.
And I think Drew Allar ends up being a first round pick this year as well.
Really?
I do. I think probably mid-tier first round, back end teens, high 20s, probably like the fourth quarterback off the board. But I do think that Drew Allar has a chance to be a first round pick this year.
I think that is around which quarterback he is. I don't think it's going to be that many quarterbacks that come off that and all in the first round like that. It might be, but we'll see. That's interesting. That's an interesting one.